You are. We've arrived on the end of day 5. In just 5 days, we've put a crack in patterns that we've been living in for decades. 20, 30, 40 more years. And it's a crack that is letting in the light of awareness. That's how powerful it is. And we bring this light of awareness everywhere we go. Our family and friends and relationships, children and parents, the workplace, just walking down the street, encountering a stranger. By giving them our attention, we are sharing our light. This light is a high vibration, a high frequency. That's why we start feeling lighter. Life becomes easier. Joy starts to arise. That same joy that we had when we were first born, just looking at the world in wonder. Because it is a magnificent world, miraculous world. The fact that anything exists the way it does is beyond comprehension. And that's the point. It's beyond comprehension. So if we try to figure it out with our minds and try to know that which is beyond comprehension, we're going to run into trouble. At the very least, we'll only grasp a fraction of it. But we certainly won't see the big picture. So we're learning more and more that navigating the great unknown cannot come from the mind. But we've had these patterns inside of us for a long time. Some of them are our own. We've created them from our reactivity. Others we've inherited from our family structures. Those are usually the toughest ones to get through. Others from society at large. It could be generational. We can even pick things up from other people. So there is no endpoint to awareness. There's no place for us to get to where we'll just be happy, aware and happy. Even if we become fully aware of ourselves, there's a lot of work to be done in this world. But without getting ahead of ourselves, it's only been 5 days. The most important thing is to continue to grow our own awareness, always. We'll be sharing that with others. We bring ourselves to whatever we do. We can only enlighten others to the degree that we ourselves are aware of ourselves. So we've had a very unique, secluded environment here on purpose. Because there's nothing here that reinforces the patterns that we're used to living in. We've carved out this little window of paradise, just being and reflecting in stillness. But we're getting close to having to confront the things that expect us back home, the very things that we created from a darker place, a less aware place. Because every single one of us has We've talked about how you're likely to feel the urge to simplify your life. Get rid of clutter. Live more consciously in the way we eat, and walk, and talk, and listen. More consciously brushing our teeth, putting on our shoes, making plans, simplifying complex issues down to where it feels comfortable and light and easy, because that's what life is supposed to be. That's what motivates us and inspires us, when we feel like something is easy. So I asked everyone here to bring their journals to the session tonight. to start reflecting on the patterns that no longer serve us, that no longer serve you. There are many behaviors that we're used to, that are ingrained, that are compensation behaviors, avoidance behaviors of this crazy busy mind that we have, where we numb ourselves to the incessant stream of thinking in one way or another. So let's take a few minutes with your journals to reflect on what some of that avoidance behavior may be. What some of those patterns may be. We tell are no longer a vibrational match. I see some of you are running out of journal pages. It's so important. It's all important to recognize that we create from within. We manifest the world around us, our reality, from within. There isn't a thing that happens around you, a person that you run into, an event, series of events, that isn't due to who you are inside. Because how you perceive it, your subjective reality, is a reflection of who you are inside. The world is always a mirror. You cannot escape yourself. You can travel to the farthest regions. You take yourself with you. You can try and change and control your environment as much as you want. Tell some people to stay away. Tell other people to come in. You're always only going to experience yourself. So trying to steer and control and navigate and negotiate with the world around you to try and make you happy, or at least to try and not offend you, is a losing proposition. To try and convince your surroundings to give you the things that you lack is a losing proposition. Anything that we want to have changed on the outside has to start from the inside. If there's something in your life that you're not happy about, look within. If there's something in your life that you feel triggered by, person, place, or thing, look within. If there's something you want to create that doesn't yet exist, look within. Everything comes from here. Something as simple as a journal becomes a healing book, a manifestation book. It's a mirror in writing. And you're having conversations with yourself. You're being a listener to yourself and a speaker all at the same time. So learning to recognize that this is how life is designed. And it's actually a very beautiful thing. And it's an extremely powerful thing. Beautiful because, heck, the formula is right there. The things that annoy us, that trigger us, that we don't want to have happen, point to the things inside of us that need attention. Always ask yourself, what's the lesson in this? And even more beautiful because of how powerful it is once you internalize that you can create your most amazing life. Which is the person you're meant to be. Your inner alignment moves outer mountains. What the mind thinks is not possible, cannot happen, doesn't even exist, your inner alignment with your true self can make that happen. So your responsibility is primarily always to yourself. It's not selfish. You shouldn't feel guilty. You are cultivating a frequency both for yourselves and the planet and beyond. All these powers start to show up that you didn't know exist. And you've summoned them just by being you. How powerful is that? So as we continue in this retreat, know that you're doing incredibly powerful work. We become frequency holders, light bearers. And expansion is usually uncomfortable. But light is infinite. We are infinite beings. Our expansion will continue forever. We may feel like we've plateaued occasionally, but it will pick up again. I promise you that. So, getting used to continuous expansion takes some work. The mind may gravitate and tell us to, let's go back to that place when things were still. They were static, they were the same, they never really changed much. We all used to live in this place where for extended periods of time, it seemed like nothing would change. That's how blind we were to the nature of life, which is continuous change. Even the mind can comprehend that. It's like everything's always changing and evolving, cells are moving and vibrating, things are expanding and shrinking. We hear it everywhere. Even NASA talks about the whole universe expanding and shrinking, being in motion. We can feel ourselves continuously in motion, and we can feel ourselves shrink when we try to stop that motion. It's always important still to take a breather. Always listen to your inner voice. If you need a break, take a break. If you like going forward, go forward. Failure means you're doing, and you realize yourself in the doing. If you're not failing, something's not right. You're not working on your alignment. And like we said, let's just replace failing with learning and growing. We spend so much time looking for our purpose. We make plans, we come up with ideas, we pursue things, and we never seem to really find it. Sometimes we stumble upon it, but it's almost more like chance. Or it's almost more like we had those little moments where we did listen to our inner voice, we did allow things to happen, we were not in resistance, we were in receiving mode. Sometimes those moments just happen naturally, and then that's when it hits us. This is what I need to do next. Could be doing the dishes, when our mind is quiet. We're taking a walk in nature. We're playing with our pet. That light of awareness still seeps into our life. It's probably why we're still here. We were completely consumed by our mind. We'd go to pieces quickly. So that light force that wants to continuously express itself and shine and turn darkness into lightness. It's there, it's at the seams of our existence. Bulging, wanting to break free, wanting to break out. We don't really have to do much other than let it. And we are beings of light. That's where we naturally gravitate towards if we just get the heaviness of our incessant thinking out of the way. We lose our fear of things not working out that a particular way. We lose our fear of beginnings and endings. We lose our fear of death. Because those are all concepts, mental concepts. And when we're no longer in the grip of those mental concepts, all of that stuff that used to make us miserable and fearful and anxious and afraid just falls away. It dissolves. Because it doesn't stand a chance against your light of awareness. In many ways, if you characterize the mind, the feeble mind, the monkey mind that's always jumping around, that's always fidgeting, that's going here one moment and here next moment, this is your truth, no, this is your truth. It's crazy like that. Because somewhere at some level it knows it doesn't stand a chance against the light of awareness. It's almost frantic. Because any moment it could lose its grip on you. And that's what we've been practicing last 5 days. There's no hocus pocus going on here, no voodoo magic. All we've been doing is training our awareness muscle. Like going to the gym, you become stronger in that which you give your attention to. And that which we give our attention to becomes the content of our life. We have only so much energy, so much time in the day, in this physical body, this physical existence. There's only so many places we could be at the same time. Look and feel and hear, all our senses. So everything we give our attention to is so precious. We become it. So we must be extremely vigilant. With this tool of awareness, this new muscle that we've developed, to only give our attention to those things that we want in our life, that we want to be. And the amazing thing is we have this built-in mechanism, our inner voice, that tells us this resonates and this doesn't. Because at the end of the day, there's still a blueprint inside of us. Even if we're good at many things, there's certain things that we're meant to do. And whatever they may look like, it may be many chapters in one's life, constant reinvention, or a single passion, talent that you discover when you're 3, and that becomes the defining aspect of the rest of your life. It's all good. But as long as we're connected, we're in the flow, we're present, responding to sensations, not clinging to some feelings and resisting others. That's what gets them stuck. That's what cuts us off from the flow. As long as we have this incredible beam of wisdom, nothing can go wrong. We have nothing to fear. Time fades into the background. It no longer drives us crazy. Staying connected to our sensations keeps things simple. Because we're always only responding to what is right now. That's what our senses respond to. Everything else is in your head. And when you're stuck in your head, the mind has a way of making things very real. But an easy way to know and notice that you're in your head is when you're not feeling well. When you've lost your joy. When you feel anxious and afraid. When you've lost trust, trust in yourself, trust in life, trust that things are going to work out. These are all the indicators, the symptoms of being in your head. Conversely, feeling light, feeling joy, looking forward to the day when you wake up in the morning, can't wait to see what happens next, curious, full of wonder, awe, wanting to be of service. Seeing miracles, believing in all the things you don't understand. Those are the signs that you're in alignment, that you're in the flow of the greater current. Does anyone want to share what they wrote in their journal? Yes?
A few sentences. I wrote that life is so precious. Instead of worrying about unknown, we should stay present. Let the thoughts and feelings arise as waves. They shall pass through. Don't go and stop the waves. Same as you shouldn't suppress your thoughts and feelings.
That's beautiful. You've probably heard this, I think Ram Dass said, "This too shall pass." This is what we're internalizing in this meditation, is to observe your sensations arise and pass. Because that's the template of life. Everything is in motion. It enters your field of experience, and then it exits your field of experience. And at the micro level, at the sensations level, that's what happens with all feelings, all thoughts, all sensations, is they come and they go. And we've just gotten ourselves all jumbled up and stuck by hanging on to some, resisting others. I write in there somewhere in the first few chapters, you are the objective observer. You have a field of vision, field of senses, and life is passing through. Someone else, I think, Phil, you talked about the clouds floating by. Or was it you, Bjorn? It seems so obvious and so easy because, yeah, things show up and then they leave again. Yet we're so stuck on wanting the things that we really like to stay and wanting the things that are unpleasant to go away. When the nature of life is so obviously to come and go. And this attachment to the coming and going keeps us small. Something comes along, oh no, I want that to stay. Full focus, all that attention going on this one thing, person, place, or thing, and nothing else exists anymore. Suddenly the world just shrunk down to almost nothing. Conversely, recognizing that everything comes and goes and not hanging on to anything expands our horizon. We recognize ourselves in the experience of things being the observer of things coming and going, to be much bigger than the things coming and going. It's a world of difference. Zoomed in, feeling small and lonely and scared. Zoomed out, feeling magnificent and infinite. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
So it's kind of like we are in this setting, we kind of change, our behaviors change. When we go back, things are totally different. So it was something regarding how I am at home with my mom and everything. So written down a few things like at home, yeah, is much my comfort zone also. There is everything is at our mind. So we become very, the comfort zone just seeps in and we just can't that. So I was just like doing mistakes, like doing everyday things, and just put everything onto her. And that tendency comes and you take it, and she does it with her whole heart, and you take that for granted. So yeah, that's something I want to And we were talking about yesterday about negotiating, like how a person, I don't know, you mentioned, he doesn't negotiate with himself. He just goes and does it.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's true.
Yeah.
And I believe in that as well.
So we don't want to negotiate with ourselves so much, we give ourselves so much comfort, we pamper ourselves. It leads to so much indiscipline.
Yes.
So that's something.
So there's two things that come up for me. One is that there has already been a shift in your dynamic. You've changed. It's going to be different.
I hope it doesn't go. It will remain. I should not just sit back in.
Yes.
I would rather.
Yes. The second thing is that, I think I've mentioned this, the old life, the old patterns have tremendous momentum. That comfort zone that you speak of, and all these little behaviors. So, it's possible that the momentum overwhelms you. Before you know it, a few weeks later, you're back in your comfort zones. Yeah. So, the question becomes creating enough counter momentum. This has been the first of such retreats for a lot of you. I can't tell you how many retreats I went to till it finally started taking hold. Many. Because each time it gives you like an injection of momentum. Ultimately, the daily practice is what really carries you. So that's the most important. But even I do 10-day silent retreats. Every I need the injection. And it catapults you forward. Reminds you of all the little details. And after a while, that's really what it becomes about. Reminders. And we'll go, oh yeah, I knew that. But you'd forgotten. Because other things took priority. This massive operation that we describe, that we've become aware of, isn't going to go away overnight. That the mind has created. That we carry around with ourselves, that we've established routines around, that we've patterned behavior around. It's not going to just give up. It's going to fight for its existence. And the mind is incredibly creative when it's fighting for its life. It can create incredibly blissful experiences for you to lose yourself in, just so it stops you from meditating. Or it puts you to sleep, like we've seen. But again, slowly but surely, the seed has started germinating, and we just can't go back. We're going to flower. We're going to grow. We're going to blossom. Every single one of us. Every single person on the planet will. Except most will have to go the hard way. Not that this is easy, but it's proactive.
Yes, have you ever asked yourself that why has God created such beings which have an internal civil war going on between themselves and the mind? Why is this system, why does this system, which counter, it's an irony that exists within itself. Why life exists and why it exists so that there's an internal battle going on. What is, why it's,
Yes. Wonderful question. It's the outer edge of thought. What I found is that the mind wants to know the answer. But all that matters is to recognize that this is how the system works. This is how the experiment that we're living works. This is how we make the most of it by living up to our true design. Why the design exists in the first place? It really doesn't matter to try and figure that out. Being is being. Feeling is feeling. Trying to know the unknown doesn't lead to much. If the answer comes to any one of us, I'm open to listening.
The question he was asking, that's what you mean?
Mm-hmm. But
I think you are coming quite close to the answer. I think we have a lot of different people who are in their head, and some people are in their soul, some are in their thoughts, some are so many different people.
Isn't it this thing like we said yesterday about you believe that we don't know and it's good? In the sense that we don't know and it's okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to overanalyze.
Yeah. The driving force when we live through our mind through the mental lens is to know things. And as we come out of that mode of operation, we no longer need to know things. We lose, like you say, we lose that incessant need to know and control and steer and project and predict. So the closer we are to being, the more we are connected, the less we need to know. We can make for an interesting dinner conversation.
Actually, in Kazakhstan, we have saying, the less you know, the deeper you sleep in our language.
Oh wow. The less you know, the deeper you sleep.
I like that.
There are so many wisdoms that have been passed along from more ancient times. When you read the scriptures, or you read the texts, or you read the traditional sayings, you feel like they had it figured out. Today, we're all confused. Somehow we correlate technology with progress or something. But those ancient people were connected. And they had an understanding, a feeling, a deeper knowing of the stars and the planets and geometry and how it all works. And they respected that. They built their societies around that. Yesterday we went to the pyramids of Chi, designed to correlate with the different solar systems. Sacred geometry. It is interesting that we, as spirits, were born or decided to come here at this time, and there's a lot of darkness. I've read about tribes where when somebody showed symptoms of awakening, modern life may call it midlife crisis. The tribe would come together and embrace this individual. When they were feeling out of sorts, physical symptoms, their sense of reality being pulled out from underneath them, they would recognize that something very special was happening to this individual. And they would come together and form a support network and a circle, an embrace, and give this person the space to awaken. And what does society do today? The doctor tells you, you're depressed, I've got a pill. Go back to work tomorrow. You don't have to feel your feelings. It does feel like we've gotten way off track. But regardless, every single life has a purpose. And that purpose is to shine as bright as you can. Bring light to the darkness. Bring light to even more light. It can become challenging at some point. The more awareness we cultivate in ourselves, part of that is also becoming aware that a lot of other people don't have that awareness. Are still acting blindly, on autopilot. And that can become challenging. When we see family members and friends and society and people in high positions with influence, doctors, lawyers, teachers, politicians, acting unconsciously, acting blindly. We may have to continuously purge as we get used to continuous expansion, that we may leave some people behind. That no longer will you go through large periods of time, long periods, with the same group of friends, same group of people. That it will be more a continuous revolving door. And above all, that we no longer fit into this world out there. We just can't play the game any longer. And this safe, pre-prescribed path that society paints, that this barrage of media is always trying to pull us into, no longer resonates. But what is there instead? You're having to carve out your own path. That can be scary. Because it's a journey. There will be times when we're in a state of limbo, questioning our decisions, questioning our faith, losing trust. As we continue to grow, we're always kind of on the cutting edge of that. Unknown territory is always knocking at our door. And getting comfortable with this will forge incredible resilience in all of us. An incredible trust. An incredible trust, not just in life, but primarily in ourselves to handle every situation as it comes along, that we will find the answer. It will come to us because we are wide open receivers. I'm sorry? Yes. Yes. Why you should have it? Okay, so the question was, I think yesterday we spoke about your comment of when you have access to good food, you should have it. Where did that come from? Have the author, the originator, explain.
Because at home, I tell mom to make new recipes, explore I was kind of tired of eating, the same food every week and mom makes something new, go on YouTube, find recipes, everyone does that. Just do something like that. So, and I was we have raw materials around us available. We have everything available around us. So why not make something good out of it? So that's our product. And that's yesterday when we went to this, we are all in this limited skin. As I told you, we can have all this, we have access, why not have it?
Amazing, amazing, really good.
No, but my question is why you don't have it? If it is you have a choices, why you should react to everything? Why?
Because it's in front of you.
So
Because what's in front of us is the only thing that's real.
yeah.
And because it resonates.
Yeah, another thing, mom is content with having same food. And that's an extent, look at that's what we do at mom.
No. What I'm saying is if I have 10 items in front of me, it doesn't mean that I should have all the 10 items. I should taste all the 10 items. Though it is,
You don't have to. No one is forcing. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
I think what my assumption is meaning behind that when people, especially like in Indonesia, there are so many families who don't have access to many things in their life, and like they have a treat once in a while. I just heard a story today where the ice cream is like thing that they have once or twice a year, and it's like these simple things they will take for granted. Like it's for us it's normal to have ice cream, but for you get the idea. You get the treat, like dessert, right? We accept it as normal, but other kids they have it once a year. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it resonates with what he said. If you have the access to that good food, appreciate it, and you will even enjoy it more. Yeah, that's my.
Yeah.
that is a different thing. What I'm saying, you are in a comfort zone, you are very good choices. Why you are not contented? Why you are supposed to, that is my question to understand. That it is not necessary that your feet also will have 10 items. That craving shouldn't be there. You have the access, but yeah, you have the access for so many choices.
So, is it a question of the food is all the options are already there?
Yeah. Taking food as an example in life, otherwise also. When you want to go spiritual, why you are having a lot of choices, but you have to decide what you want to do. There is nothing wrong and nothing right, I understand. I understand that. But somewhere you have so many choices, right? But you chose Bali to come to, right? You had many countries to go to. So that was why you should do. Yeah, you can make so many things, you can make variety, but why that taste bud should be encouraged? Because we are talking about going inside, somewhere you have to leave all these things. And it is not easy, sure. That is my question.
Okay, yeah, no, great question. If I understand it correctly, it reminds me of a lot of traditions that reject abundance, reject sensory pleasures, reject experiencing things. I have come to the realization that we find ourselves not in the things, but through the things. Each one of those options, whichever one you wind up engaging with, is telling you something about yourself. It has a message for you. And the more conscious we are in this engagement, the more loudly that message appears. It could be a message of gratitude. It could just be a simple message of, my body likes this because it feels nourished. It could be a message, this is not for me. It's not a vibrational match. That's how I stopped drinking coffee 20 years ago. No longer vibrational match. Not some thought that I shouldn't or should, or what will others say, or is it a bad thing? It spoke to me. It said, you no longer need me. There's this beautiful world of experiences and communication that is so vibrant, and it has nothing to do with words. It has to do with energy. It has to do with senses. There's such beauty in just the frog's croak, or the bird's chirp. Anything that we become fully aware of is beautiful. So the more aware we are of ourselves, the more we love ourselves, because we are beautiful. Phil.
To add to that, maybe also there's a difference between enjoyment and attachment. Like if we get attached to needing that, that's one thing. But if things are presented to us, or we listen to what's vibing for us, and we have access to these, to use your example of beautiful food. I had a yoga teacher that described ahimsa, or violence, the lack thereof, also as depriving yourself of those things that are coming your way. It's another way to look at it. But I think, I don't know, but that's what was going through my head when I understood your question. But, so I've written a lot of things, but one of the ways in which you put this, and with what I do, and what's helped me, and what I teach, and things like that, is obviously body sensations are a huge part of that, but I've written a fair amount of it. The way that you put something, which is like, a tattoo backwards on my forehead so I can see it when I look in the mirror.
Please don't do that.
I'll do the post-it note.
Yeah, much better.
Stay connected to my sensations. Everything else is in my head.
Can you say it again? I didn't hear it.
Yeah, stay connected to, when I put it in the first person, but you had said stay connected to your sensations. Everything else is in your head. And I think it's a great boiling down of all of these.
Mm-hmm. Everything that is light and simple and joyful is our experience of our sensations. Everything that feels heavy and anxious and confusing, all that is in our head.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this, as we talked about, it's very complicated, and when you're inside it, going through a range of emotions and feeling, barrage.
Exactly.
That kind of cuts through all of that.
Yeah. And that's not to say that there are unpleasant sensations. There are absolutely unpleasant sensations.
Those are tools too. That's a communication as well, like coffee.
Exactly.
And there's worse than coffee, right? But that's,
yes.
We make other decisions.
We make other decisions. And beyond that even, feeling your unpleasant sensations is just as beautiful as feeling the pleasant ones. Because it's life. It's life flowing through you. You're not attached to the individual pleasant or unpleasant ones. You're experiencing the flow of feelings coming and going. You're experiencing life in a much bigger way than these attachments to this and this and this and that. It's this river of experiences rushing through us. Life becomes a rush. I wanted to say something to the previous situation, the question with all the options. You can't escape your own evolution. So even if you withhold and not partake in those options, something else will grow in you. Maybe it's curiosity. One day it's gotten so big that you will have more options. Maybe it'll be somebody else, a relative or somebody in some unsuspecting moment while you're out and about who says something in just the right way that you needed to hear to open you up to giving it a try. This happens all the time, by the way. I can't tell you, after all these years of teaching, student comes back years later and said, that thing that you said, that really changed my life. I say, that changed your life? If I even remember it. We hear things in different ways. Words have different meanings for each and every one of us. So we should never, ever be in the mindset that we're going to give up on people, give up on life, give up on society, can't be saved. I'm not even going to go out there and be the light, shine my light, because they don't deserve it or they don't get it. Shine your light. Don't worry about how others perceive it. Sometimes we sow seeds that don't come to fruition for decades or lifetimes. But when we're in the flow and we're identified with our purpose and we're in alignment, we talked about losing fear and anxiety and gaining trust and confidence. One of the biggest things is we lose the need for validation, for receiving back in exchange for giving. Because there's such beauty, sheer beauty in just being. We've left this old mindset of, I'm going to give with an expectation that you get something back. We've left that far behind. We see people for who they are, and we don't want them to be different. And we change the world by just being ourselves. Being more conscious brothers and sisters and parents and children and friends and neighbors. More conscious in how we treat nature and animals and plants. More conscious in every step that we take. How we put on our shoes, our clothes. more conscious every situation we engage in, and being a facilitator of life unfolding. There are no problems. There is only life unfolding. Yes.
In your book, there are different chapters.
Mm-hmm.
What will be your maham to take from your book? Like how to follow, how to start, be you and this temple, but from all the different chapters. How to start it?
Mm-hmm. So, the best way to start is to recognize that whenever you feel triggered, it's not about the other person, it's about yourself. And that's not that big of a leap, is to recognize, oh, you can actually use your mind for this. It's like, oh, what is this telling me about me? And already something opens up. A certain self-reflection starts to take root. And then, of course, having a daily mindfulness meditation practice just advances that, accelerates that, amplifies that. It's a journey of self-discovery.
So basically, this
Life will do this to us anyways. You can live through the mental lens and make your plans and have those expectations and manifest, create the reality from those expectations. And then when you get there, the reality that shows up doesn't match the mental expectations that you had. And then reconciling the reality as it is with your expectations will deepen you. That's the process. You can't escape it. You're going to have to come to terms with the reality as it shows up, as it is, comparing it to what you thought it would be. And you're going to have to figure out a way to come to terms with that. And there's really only two options. One is you keep resisting and fighting it, and that's going to take you down. Or you let go and surrender. And that process of surrendering will deepen you. So we can't help but become deeper, even if we're living through the mind. There's just an easier road and a more difficult one. I think it's one of the last chapters where I talk about the three roads. So there's the long road. It's where you stay in continuous resistance to life, always wanting what is to be different. That's a hard road to travel. Then there's the middle road, where you continuously manifest from your unconsciousness all these expectations, a reality that you then have to reconcile with what actually shows up. And then there's what I call the no road, which is what we're doing here. No road. No road. You're no longer having to manifest from your unconsciousness situations only to then realize that they don't match your expectations, and then having to reconcile that and have that process deepen you. But rather, we can come out of the mind-driven way altogether and manifest from alignment and calling and purpose, not because we want it, but because we feel pulled to it. And for most people, probably all people, life will consist of a combination of those roads. In some areas, we'll continue to resist, we'll go down in fighting. In some areas, we're middle roaders. We're going to keep creating situations over and over till we learn to let go. And in some areas, we already come in with a sense of alignment where we don't have to force it. But what we're doing here is maximizing the no road. Amplifying the light that lives within us, that wants to come out. So, with that, are we ready for our evening meditation? Keep pounding the no road. Could you move that, guys? Thank you. Again, this will be unguided. You've left the nest. Continue scanning your body from the top of your head to the tip of your toes. And when you reach the tip of your toes, start over again. As always, we start with a few minutes of thought awareness, breath awareness, and then move into body awareness, body scanning. Let's begin.